while growing up, there's always been that mentality that we had, or that belief that one of the criteria of becoming a sailor is that you must know how to swim, and then you must be friends with the mommy waters, else they could actually decide to hold you down and not want to let you pass through the waters. Help us clear the air. Is that really true?
I think while growing up, we were taught to believe so many things that were not true. For me, I think I don't want to go spiritual, but I don't know if there's anything like money, but I've never seen one.
Really? For 7 years, you've never seen one?
I've never experienced anything.
That means it doesn't exist?
Definitely, maybe. Just maybe. So, then talking about the swimming, there's two different. When we say swimming, is it to suspend yourself? Is it to keep yourself afloat, or to actually swim? But when we say swimming, some people have this mentality of a swimming pool, you swim from edge to edge. That's not possible at sea. Even the best swimmer, maybe Izzy Phelps, or what's the name, the American swimmer, if you drop him at the middle of the Atlantic, where is he swimming to? From where to where? So you see, so when they say you must learn how to swim, I think for me, I would just say just learn how to survive. Maybe float yourself a little bit and look for help, because there's nowhere to swim to actually.
Nowhere to swim to. In the words of Francis Legrande, an author and veteran sailor, he once said, "Confronting a storm is like fighting God. All the powers in the universe seem to be against you, and in an extraordinary way, your irrelevance is at the same time both humbling and exalting." Okay, so our next quote is from Webb's Chills. He is an American sailor and author noted for his offshore sailing. He once said, "A sailor is an artist whose medium is the wind. Live passionately, even if it kills you, because something is going to kill you anyway." Like they say, something must kill a man. Okay, so the next one is from Joseph Conrad, who is a Polish British novelist and short story writer, regarded as one of the greatest writers in English language. He once said, "There is nothing more enticing, disenchanting, and enslaving than the life at sea." Oh wow. Okay, our last one is from Arthur C. Clarke, who is an English science fiction writer, and he's also a futurist. He's an inventor, undersea explorer, and television series host. He once said, "How inappropriate it is to call this planet Earth when clearly it is sea." Absolutely spot on, really. Especially Lagos people, that's what they will tell you. Now let's see how all of this going to relate to what we'll be discussing today. Very warm greetings and welcome to The Conversation. We're reaching you from KAFTAN's television studio here in the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Annabelle Oji. A sailor, seaman, mariner, or seafarer is a person who works aboard a watercraft as part of its crew and may work in any one of a number of different fields that are related to the operation and maintenance of a ship. Now, while many people think that sailing is all smooth seas, sunshine, sunsets, and beautiful beaches, it's also a lot of hard work and can be incredibly challenging, tasking also, especially when you have to deal with insecurity, when you have to deal with terrorism, insurgency, piracy, just to mention a few. John JC is a sailor, and he will let us in on what it is like being a sailor here in Nigeria, what they go through dealing with pirates and insecurity when on board, and how we can better the lot of the Nigerian waterways once again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Conversation. If you just joined us, this is The Conversation. We're reaching you from KAFTAN's television studio here in the nation's capital, Abuja. Now we'll go straight to our discussion for today. We're talking about Nigeria's maritime sector. We're looking at insecurity and how it can be curbed at least to the barest minimum. With our guest on the show today, he is John JC, and he is a sailor. It's good to have you on the show today.
Yeah, thank you.
Great, you're welcome. All right, so let's get started. But then we'll start. Let's start by breaking the ice and getting up close and personal with you. So, how long have you been a sailor?
I'm going to around 6-7 years.
7 years.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So, what has he been like? What's it been like being a sailor, especially in Nigeria, in terms of the insurance policies, in terms of the hazards, the challenges, and even the salary?
It's been okay, but it can get better. For the insurance, I think our administration needs to do more. There is no comprehensive insurance for sailors in Nigeria, as far as I know. Maybe just a few, but majority has no insurance. The salary, the salary compared to international standard is way, way below. So I think the Nigerian administration has a lot to do in that aspect too.
Is it up to 6 zeros?
Not always the case.
Not always the case.
Not always the case.
Okay, so when you say that the insurance policy, at least it can get better, at least to what extent is it at the moment?
At the moment, if I should take a rough population, let me say 10 sailors, I'm not sure the people with insurance are up to 2. So it's kind of very, very low. Very, very low. With regards to the hazards, the dangers associated with the job, more needs to be done in that aspect.
So more often the challenge that you have, is it just with regards to the insurance policy and then the hazard? Because we'll definitely talk about some of the hazards. So is that all that it is to the challenge that you face?
Yeah, we have plenty of challenges, First of all, we have the issue of wages. We have issue of insurance. We have issue of most companies still don't pay pension. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a very big industry with a lot of challenges. And I hope maybe as time goes on, we'll be able to mitigate these challenges one after the other.
Are you working for, do you have like different private companies that you work for, or is it just the government?
No. It's an industry just like the aviation industry. You have Dana Air.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so different private companies.
So that means it could be better in the next private company.
Yes, they are not always the same.
Oh, okay. Okay, so now what are the risks that are involved in with your job, living and working aboard a watercraft for days, weeks, and even months? What kind of challenge do you actually face when you are on board?
Yeah, I could say a lot of them. Maybe I'll start from fatigue. You are confined in a very small craft. No matter how big it is, all the activities is between the length and breadth of that ship. You wake up, you sleep, you go to work, you come back from work, any activities for days, months. So at times, you have fatigue coming in. You are being cut out from the outside world. But eventually you are sick. There's limitation to the kind of medical care you can get. Because definitely most ships do carry doctors on board. But I could tell you authoritatively, very few of them. Very, very few. And the ones that carry medical doctors on board are the very large ones. For the smaller crafts, you only have maybe a nurse. At times, maybe just a medical practitioner that has an idea. So that is also a problem. Then food too. You tend to eat food that have been stored for a very long time. And after eating, there's no way to burn it out because you are confined to a particular space. So health-wise too, not really good. Then security, the Gulf of Guinea, the Nigerian waters, it's prone to many problems. We have terrorism, we have piracy, we have sea robbers, we have a lot of them.
Oh wow!
So
I actually thought it's just you only battle with piracy. So you still have terrorism, you still have sea robbers, like different hydra-headed challenges.
Yes.
Oh wow!
They are numerous. It entails a lot of things. You still have bunkering, you have oil theft, you have a lot. You have bad weathers, of course, which can be very dangerous at times.
Now, so have you ever had any reason to just jump out of the boat or the ship and just go right into the water and probably get accosted by sharks? Has it ever come to your mind?
Not really. But, in all fields, not just the maritime industry, mental mental health has always been very underrated. So at every point in time, a ship has a command.
Okay.
They tend to look at their crew and make sure at every point in time they are mentally stable. For example, if somebody lost somebody very close and was informed, most times we do advice for family members, friends, not to tell them when they are at sea. So if such a case happens, we tend to look at them, monitor them, or make sure we take them out of the sea as soon as we can. You can also have other stuff, maybe business gone wrong at shore, family issues and all that. Yeah, of course, it could happen. But for me personally, I've not had such problems or situations that will make me want to jump off the ship to this sea, but it does happen. Mental challenges everywhere, I guess.
So if you have such problems where you need to take the person back home, what happens? And then you are right in the middle of the sea. So you have to wait till for days or maybe weeks till you get at least to where you can take the person home. What happens?
Yeah, what happens in such situation is depending on the kind of voyage the person is into. If it's a near coastal voyage, maybe it's working right inside Nigeria,
okay,
he can be taken off from time. If it's working for an oil company, servicing an oil company, maybe one of these IOCs, we can contact the IOCs, they might use a chopper to take him off.
Okay.
But if it's an international voyage, then he has to wait for the nearest spot, which might take days, weeks to get to the nearest spot where they can drop him.
Have you ever had any time where you lost a colleague right in the sea?
Yes. That was last year.
So what was he like?
It was terrible.
What exactly happened?
He was sick, just a brief illness, and they were making arrangements to take him off. I think the chopper that was supposed to take him off has been booked. Unfortunately, he died, and just few hours after he died, the chopper landed, but it was too late.
So then that was just that one?
Yeah, for me, we've heard of so many, but personally, that's the only one.
So what do you do when you're on board? What exactly do you do?
Okay, and for me, the ship is divided into plenty departments. You have the catering department, they are the ones in charge of cooking, cleaning. We have the engine department, those ones are in charge of running the engines, all machinery to make sure everything is working. For me, I'm part of the deck department, so purely navigation and probably maybe management of the ship and stuff.
Oh, okay. Okay, so now tell us some few common life-threatening accidents on board ships.
Okay, just let me take a few, maybe the ones that are most common. For example, when the ship is at port or at sea, there's what we call an STS, ship-to-ship transfer.
Okay.
For example, a mother vessel comes from the refinery and is coming to load the product, maybe PMS, AGO, to another smaller ship, which will take it inside the Nigerian creek, maybe Apapa, thereabouts. Sometimes we have these ropes they use in tying the two ships pattern, and it has always happened, and it's very disastrous, If a rope under a mooring line under tension parts, anything it says, be it your leg, your neck, it takes it off. And we've been having issues like that. There was one that happened, I think 2 years ago in Warri, and it was disastrous.
Oh, wow.
So you have that, and you have a lot more of them. You have bad weather causing a lot of trouble. I don't know if you read the news about a bomb vessel that sank, I think in France, off France coast.
Yeah, I read it.
Yeah, bad weather, and that was it. So a lot.
Even in Nigeria, we suffer the bad weather too?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. So now, okay, so give us some, because I wanted to talk about some fun facts that you get, but then because you mentioned Apapa port, you talked about the Warri ports, and then we keep hearing of so much challenges with regards to berthing a ship, especially in Apapa port. Why do you have so much challenges with that? Is it the government officials that always make it so cumbersome for you?
I would like to know what kind of challenges.
And then we just keep hearing that you have to pay a lot of dues before you can actually get your goods and all. And then you have containers, and then the that are empty, right, in a Papa pot, and then they're not, they're just there. They're not agreeing to either release it, or so many challenges we keep hearing, especially those that are exporting. Why do they always have that challenge?
Okay, for us, the seafarers, we are more, I will be able to give you detailed information about the ship coming from a particular port and to the nearest port. Any other thing that happens after then, maybe charges for cargoes, is between the governments of the country and the owner of the goods. But for some of the challenges that is directly concerned, or that were directly involved, I could say, okay, maybe a Papa port, for example. You mentioned empty cargoes. Part of the problem why we have empty cargoes is very simple. We do not export. So most time, these foreign companies, the foreign shipping line, they bring cargoes for Nigerian businessmen in containers. They discharge them, but there's nothing to load on them to take them out. And
so most they take them how that way?
Most time they don't even want to take them out.
Oh, wow.
So that's why you have plenty empty cargoes, containers in Apapa. Then for the dues, I think the Nigerian government should assert that, not me, because we've been hearing high cost of clearing charges, high cost of clearing inward a ship to come into the port dues. But that is just something for the government versus the shipping companies, not for us. We are just operators. We just bring the ship safely to the port. Once it's done with its activity, we take it safely out of the port to the next destination.
So mostly you do cargo, or people, or persons also? Yeah,
in Nigeria, we don't have a cruise ship. The one that carry passengers, but we have others. I know the industry is very big. You have those servicing the oil company, you have those into loading products, petroleum products.
Okay.
You have those loading bulk goods, maybe rice, wheat. So it depends on where you fall. Me, I'm more, since I joined the industry, I've spent more time working for the offshore industry.
What does offshore mean?
The offshore parts of the industry is people that service this oil company, smaller ships that services the oil company.
How small is small ship?
Yeah, how small is relative. Okay. It's not that small, but I would say smaller ships compared to these large crude carriers, compared to these large maybe bulk carriers.
Okay.
Ro-ro ships. Yeah.
All right, so now give us some fun facts of being a sailor. What exactly motivates you to always want to go back to the water? Is it actually the pay, or the love for the job, or maybe the mermaid that you find there? like we call it Mami Water.
Mami Water. For us, I think the most important thing in seafaring is that you need to have love for it. If not, if it's because of something else, after some time, the love for that particular aspect why you joined the industry is going to fade away, and that will be the end of it. So first of all, you need to have love for the job. Like for us, for me particularly, since I was a little boy, I've always had this love for sailing. You know, then as a small boy, I used to watch this Pirates of the Caribbean. Used to watch Titanic, and you know. So now, all grown up, we decided to go to the school, not just a conventional school. We went to a maritime school, and from there we started finding our way. So for us, it's just the love, not the money, nothing, just the love of the job. It's something we wanted doing right from when we were kids.
Because you talked about while growing up, so I just actually remembered something, because while growing up, there's always been that mentality that we had, or that belief that one of the criteria of becoming a sailor is that you must first know how to swim, and then you must be friends with the Mami Waters, else they could actually decide to hold you down and not want to let you pass through the waters. Help us clear the air. Is that really true?
I think while growing up, we were taught to believe so many things that were not true. For me, I think I don't want to go spiritual, but I don't know if there's anything like Mami Water. I've never seen one.
Really? For 7 years, you've never seen one?
I've never experienced anything.
That means it doesn't exist?
Definitely, maybe. Just maybe. So, then talking about the swimming, there's two different, when we say swimming, is it to suspend yourself, is it to keep yourself afloat, or to actually swim? Because when we say swimming, some people have this mentality of a swimming pool, you swim from edge to edge. That's not possible at sea. Even the best swimmer, maybe is it Phelps or what's the name, the American swimmer, if you drop him at the middle of the Atlantic, where is he swimming to, from where to where? So you see, so when they say you must learn how to swim, I think for me, I would just say just learn how to survive. Maybe float yourself a little bit and look for help, because there's nowhere to swim to actually.
Nowhere to swim to. Let's go to a quick break, and when we come back, we will talk more on being a sailor in Nigeria and tackling the insecurity, the insurgency, the terrorism, piracy that comes with that job. I'll see you shortly. Don't move from us. We'll be right back.
Immigration, customs, you have government departments, DPR, NPC. They've not been up and down. Probably because there's some little bit of mixed up among the officials who should be aware. Because one thing I will always say, I've always believed, as a Nigerian, not as a seafarer, as a Nigerian, as a concerned citizen, oil theft is more than what we think. This crude theft you used to hear is not a bottle of Coke. It's not a truckload of cement. We're talking of large ships carrying this thing out of the country. So I don't want to believe that these things move in and out of the country without the security agents. I really don't know what's going on. But we hope that going forward, there will be a solution to it, because it affects all of us. It's something that goes around. It's a natural resources that is supposed to be of benefit to all Nigerians. I said something about the Niger Delta region. That part is a little bit complicated for me. We do sail across this region most times. And for example, let me give you an example. Bonny, for example, you see these children who are supposed to be in school, they are not in school. They are inside this wooden boat. They are fishing because they need to make ends meet. Now you keep asking yourself, you have this Bonny having this gas moving in and out of this place every day, every month, for years, and the people who are staying there are saying they are not benefiting anything. They are still living in abject poverty. It's not about even the people in the coastal areas. Even let's say Nigerians as well, what we have as natural resources from the oil and gas industry, if it's properly harnessed, properly sold, properly used for the good use of everybody, I think every Nigerian should live above what they are doing right now.
If you just joined us, this is The Conversation. We're reaching you from KAFTAN's television studio here in the nation's capital, Abuja. And I've been talking to John JC, who is a sailor. We'll be talking about life inside the water. All right, we actually talked about quite a lot of things, but then there's before we continue, we always take social media questions. Okay. And there's this question someone asked. He said, is it true that all sailors are cultists? Maybe because you mentioned Pirates of the Caribbean.
No, it's not possible. That's not part of the job description.
Okay. So, I don't know, maybe when you hear seafarers, and then some people just have some kind of mentality. So, maybe you need to clear the air on that.
Yeah, I think it's just a general belief. But even if it's a general belief, it doesn't make it true. Like, there's this very, very belief we used to hear when we were growing up that all seafarers are drunkards. Funny enough, seafarers are not allowed to take alcohol on board. So you can see the two different, really? It's totally in two different directions. Some people, the belief is that they drink a lot. So why actually you're not even allowed to take alcohol on board. So it's just one of those beliefs which are actually not true.
Well, tell us some of those beliefs that you even grew up with, and then you came when you started the job, and then you just found out that they just pose apart.
Okay, like the drinking part, the mermaid part.
The mermaid.
What else?
Cultists.
The cultists. They're just all, should I say, make believe or so, something like that. But they're actually not true.
Okay, so now there's another social media question. This person says, what does it take to become a sailor? Okay, qualifications.
Qualification. That's a big part of it.
Okay.
It's a very lengthy process. First, you need to go to a maritime school.
Okay.
After that, you need to write certification exam or license exam for a particular position. For example, if in my department, the deck, you need to go to a maritime school. Once you are done with the maritime school, you go for a training program on board a ship for maybe 2 years, 1 year, 6 months. You need to be on the ship as a trainee. We used to call it cadet.
Okay.
You learn. After then, you come back, you go back to school, you write your license exam to become an officer of the watch. Then when you are done, you go back on board as an officer of the watch. After then, you come back again to write another license exam for the next position until you get to the last position, which is the master of the ship, which you people normally call a captain. That's why you stop going to school. Then apart from that, you have this certification, different certification, maybe ship security officer, Medicare on board. You know, these basic courses you need to know because if we are 20 crews on board, there's somebody that is designated to, for example, handle the hospital or maybe the medical searches. So you need a course that will cover that. Okay, this is paracetamol. Okay, when somebody is this, I can administer CPR or something like that. You have plenty of them, and
so you can't just get a normal pharmacist to go through that.
No, because how many pharmacists want to sell for 9 months? That's the problem. So everything has to fall back to us, and most times, most of these courses do expire every 5 years. So you have to go back to school to renew your documents, renew your papers, and these courses are not cheap, especially in Nigeria. They are very expensive. So it's a lengthy process, but it's worth it.
So how long does it take to go through these courses? What's the longest?
From where to where? Is it from a novice or who just got admission to an officer or to a cadet or to a master? Which
no, first from a novice and a complete novice, like I want to just become a sailor. Okay. How long will it take from that step to at least maybe an officer?
An officer. For example, we have 2 schools in Nigeria, government schools. We also have some other schools, but the main recognized schools is the Maritime Academy of Nigeria. It's owned by the federal government. Okay. We have the issue of oceanography in Lagos too. For the Maritime Academy of Nigeria, at least we have it's a 4 years program, 1 year cadetship program, so that's 5 years. Then you can write your exam. Let's say in 6 years' time, you should be able to.
6 years?
6 years time.
Oh, wow. So you spent 6 years. Yeah. And then that's not done because you still have to continue going again to become the master of the ship.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, wow. So is it officer before cadet or cadet before officer?
No, cadet before officer. You need the cadetship program is like a training program. Okay. You come on board the ship. You've learned in the classroom. But now you have to be on the ship to now practicalize all you'll be learning in the classroom. And
then you have to travel?
Yeah, definitely. You travel with the crew. You are part of the crew.
Oh, wow. Yes. That's huge. Okay, now let's talk about insecurity, especially when you're on board with regards to piracy. Now, like I said, I actually thought you only have to deal with pirates, but then you're making us to understand that you also have to deal with sea robbers, you have to deal with terrorism, you have to deal with all that. So how do you combat all of this insecurity when you're on board?
When we're on board, we just do our part, and the part we need to do is to keep proper watch. We have various means of keeping watch. You have electronic. You can keep the watch electronically. You have the radars. You have some aids to keeping this watch, and then you follow company guidelines, administration guidelines. Don't go too deep. Don't go too far. Don't do this, and that's just it. For us, that's what we can do. Most of the responsibility of security lies with the administration, lies with the government, and all that.
So how's it been?
Recently, it has been good. I think the Nigerian Navy has done quite good. The work they are doing is commendable, and there's room for improvement, definitely. So we are hoping that there will be a time where this will be totally maybe a forgotten story. Like there used to be piracy, but for now we still have one or few cases once in a while. But it has reduced.
So when you say that you keep watch, what does it look like? Like you have like a common room where you watch if there are people coming or something. How do you keep watch?
Yeah, keeping watch. For the deck officers, we have the bridge. The bridge is the control. Let me say the command of the ship. Okay. In this bridge, you have officers keeping watch. You have lookout men who assist the officers who are keeping watch. You have electronic.
And so are they standing in one position? like the lookout men?
No, you can go around.
Okay.
It's not a fixed thing, you know.
Okay.
It's a long process. Like you are sailing from maybe Lagos to Togo. It takes you days, so you can't just stand one place for this. So for those on duty, you know, you have the officers on duty keeping watch. You have the lookout men who are assisting him. Then you have electronic aids. You have the radar. You have AIS. You have a lot of them. So you make sure you keep watches on all these equipment just to make sure everything is fine.
Even at night, how's it like traveling at night?
At night it's something. It's good.
So now, with regards to insecurity, especially in the waterways, you have attempted attacks, you have suspicious vehicles coming around, you have problems of being shot at, and then you also have the complete hijack and then being kidnapped. Probably one of your crew being kidnapped. So how do you actually deal with this trend? Are you allowed to go with arms?
No. Seafarers are not allowed to be armed on board, except for some special security vessels who has Nigerian Navy armed security personnel on board. But for we are civilians, so or let me say we're paramilitary, so we are not allowed to carry firearms on board. It's not allowed.
So then, if you actually see someone that is coming there's a threat, what happens?
There's always a procedure to safeguard yourself for the meantime.
Tell us this procedure.
Yeah, for some ships you have the lockdown procedure. You have safe havens. You have compartments that are highly, safe. So probably you move to the place, contact the authority, and they will take it up from there.
Oh, really?
But we are not allowed to start fighting the pirates. We do not have that capacity.
How swift have you been able to get an authority come to your rescue?
Just like I said earlier on, I've not particularly encountered that personally.
Okay.
But for those that have done, it's not that swift, but at least they came on time. They came in real time. And if it's, for example, an oil servicing company, those working for all these IOCs, you have standby security patrol ships in the field at every point.
So are they allowed to carry arms?
Yeah, they're allowed to carry arms. You have personnel, Nigerian personnel on board.
Oh, okay. Oh, great. So now we realize that this maritime incidents and the waterway insecurity in Nigeria, it has, even with what you said, we think that it has actually quite tinkered down a little bit, unlike what the stories that we used to get before now. So as we don't hear the reports as much as we do before now. So what exactly is behind this success? Has it actually been completely dealt with, or we don't just hear these cases due to underreporting? What are these stories that does it actually mean that these stories they just actually don't make it to the news anymore like it used to be before, and then we've actually moved from water attacks to land and then rail attacks?
For the part of the underreporting, I would not want to agree to that, because the maritime sector, the way it is, there's no incident that happens in the maritime sector that will not come out. It's practically impossible. So I would say it has actually reduced.
Okay.
And before the amnesty programs, most of these issues of piracy and stuff was coming from the creeks, from the river areas. With the amnesty programs,
that's from the Niger Delta region.
Yes, from the Niger Delta region. With the amnesty program that was in place during the last two administrations, it actually helped.
Oh, okay.
Then they've also they've increased the measures. These companies, the Nigerian government, have increased the measures they had in place to checkmate this insecurity, and it's working. It's not totally out, but at least it's reduced. It's reduced.
So it's not a problem of underreport.
No,
it's
still
not a problem.
There. It's still there, but not like before.
Oh, great. So now, but over time, it's been said that Nigeria, being the biggest state in the West Africa region, is left to patrol the naval waters more often, like the whole of Gulf of Guinea, from Benin Republic to Ghana, Lome, and then all. And then I understand that it can really be overwhelming. So do you think that the Nigerian Navy might just be overstretched?
Actually, the Nigerian Navy cannot cross into another man's territory. It's not possible. So you only patrol your territorial waters. I think there is this Gulf of Guinea Commission where they have these bilateral agreements, except that, and it's going to be a multinational joint patrol. So it's not just Nigerian military leaving their waters and going to Togo. That is crossing somebody's territorial water. That's a very big problem diplomatically. So that is actually true.
Okay. So now we also hear that the Gulf of Guinea is like, when you talk about insecurity, that's the hub of insecurity. How true is that?
In Nigeria, no, relatively to the world.
Relatively to the world.
We still have other Gulf.
At least we hear that Somalia is quite peaceful, unlike other parts.
Somalia is not peaceful. I can tell you that. In as much as there's business going on these waters, there will always be challenges of insecurity. So it's not, and when we talk of Gulf of Guinea, please be mindful that we are not talking of only Nigeria. We're talking of a very vast stretch of African countries. You have Nigeria, you have Togo, you have Ghana, you have Benin Republic, you have Gabon, you have Angola, DRC, Republic of Congo. It's a long stretch of coastline. So it's not just about Nigeria. So, but we talk about this insecurity in the Gulf of Guinea. Most times we tend to just look at the ones happening in Nigeria. When you hear there's maybe a kidnap, a pirate attack in the Gulf of Guinea, we need to be sure where did it actually happen. Was it Nigeria? Was it in Togo, territorial waters? Was it in Ghana? But most times when people hear Gulf of Guinea, they just think it's just Nigeria. Nigeria is just parts of the Gulf of Guinea.
Oh, okay. Okay, great. Now, based on your experience so far, what parts of, let's start with two questions I'll ask, and I'd like to unbundle them in one breath. Now, what part of the country, Nigeria, would you actually say that is highly vulnerable? And then what part of the Gulf of Guinea would you also say that is highly vulnerable, or highly inflammable, like sailors would always call? Because now we always hear that if you're coming from the Gulf of Guinea into that, you need to beef up your security, or even better than what you have in other parts. So in Nigeria, what part is mostly vulnerable, and then in other parts?
In Nigeria, the part that is more vulnerable are the part that are closer to shore. You know, these pirate people, they come to sea with these speedboats with outboard engine, and there's a limit they can go. So for us sailors, when we're coming close to the shore, still at sea, but coming close to the shore, we beef up our security, we are more careful, we are more, that's just those parts closer to the shore. Okay, and then for the Gulf of Guinea? Gulf of Guinea, the same thing. Because it's going to be very difficult for a pirate attack to happen in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. It's going to be very difficult. After carrying out that act, so for them to go back is going to be difficult. And mind you, most of this Gulf of Guinea, these territorial waters for the countries on that line, we still have foreign frigates patrolling these waters. Most times, we have French, American, we have Nigerian. So most times they want to attack you and quickly run back to the creek, which is their safe haven. So how about Niger Delta region? Same. And funny enough, the waters, most of our waterways in Nigeria falls to the Niger Delta region. Just have few of them outside the Niger Delta region. Even Lagos is part of, I think they're part of the Niger Delta and this right now. So majorly, they will not have waters in the north, definitely. So everything has to do with Port Harcourt, Bayelsa. Our coastline is within the Niger Delta region. Now let's divert a little bit and talk about crude oil theft. What are your thoughts on the discovery of illegal pipelines that has actually existed for 9 years, or over 9 years, according to the federal government? That's what they said. And then it was discovered by the security officials, and then Tom Polo and his boys as the Tantita Security. Did you actually see that coming, or did that news, did it come to you as a surprise at all? No, not as a surprise. Oh, really? Yes. Why so? We've been hearing stories of oil thefts even since I was a boy. So it's something that has been there, and for some reasons I don't know, they've not been able to curb it or totally stop it. So it has always been there. It's not a new thing. It didn't just start today. It didn't just start 9 years ago. It has been there for quite some time. Now, we're talking about the illegal pipeline that's the federal government just discovered weeks ago. That's late last year, when they said some people just decided to build pipelines there. So in whatever journeys you've been making, you've never cited any of this? No, definitely not. So how come it's been there? So that means it's been there over time, but probably you don't see them, or what? Yeah, I won't be able to see them because it's not our job description to start checkmating them. Our own job description is just to work and go home. We are not security operatives. We are not intelligence agency. We do not have the capacity to start checkmating or start checking for if there's an illegal pipeline, illegal bunkering. That's not a job description. It's
but is it possible that you could see one? Or it is not possible? That means it was well built that you cannot even find one.
And definitely they will not build it where everybody will see. It won't work that way. They know how they do that. We are not part of them, so I won't be able to give you a direct answer to that.
Now, they have this with this illegal bunkering, like we said, it has actually been taking place over time for a very long time. And then you have security outfits, several of them. You have the Navy gunboat, you have the Army gunboat, you have all of them. And so with all of this security laid down, yet you still have these breaches coming forth. If there's some bunkering and crude oil theft have been there for a long time, and then we seem never to bat an eyelid to it even before now, then why do you think that why is it becoming something to worry about now?
Well, I would say maybe the new security outfit that was brought into place, like I think that was last year by this current administration, was one that blew the lead, and we got to see so many. I think
the Operation Dakata Barao.
Yes, we get to see so many loopholes. But as I said earlier on, it has been there. It has always been there, because we've been having even the IOCs. When I say IOCs, I mean these big international companies. They've been complaining. There's pipeline burst, pipeline diversion, crude oil loss. Nigeria will say we are supposed to have so number of barrels of oil per day. This is what we are getting due to oil theft. So they were aware that some oil have been diverted on a daily basis, and they've been complaining. It has been all over the news all this way. Probably they didn't see any need to start finding where it was coming from, or trying to find a solution to stop that. Maybe they're just finding it now. I don't know, but it's left for the governments. We can do it, as I said, we can do it. We are just operators, so we can do it too. We are also concerned, just like every other person, because of course I'm a Nigerian, I'm concerned about what happens to our economy, what happens to our natural resources. But then it's just like every other person. We are just concerned, and there's nothing we can do.
But then we've always heard that the IOCs they also have a hand to it. Do you agree?
Maybe it's just an allegation until someone is caught or another company is caught. That's the job of the government.
So if this crude oil theft has been able to, aside the massive loss of revenue to our country, and then it also destroys the source of livelihood, especially for the area where where it happens, especially for the Niger Delta people, and then it destroys the aquatic life and all of that for that region. So is it that with all of this shouts and cry for help by the Niger Delta region, no one seems to care, especially the executives of the state, the traditional leaders, and then the elder statesmen? Because it now looks like for crime, definitely you know that for crime to thrive, there must be an enabling environment. So do you think that some people, it's a long network and cartel of network, and then a lot of people are involved in it, so that's why they decided to keep mum?
Yes, I will agree to that. When crimes of such magnitude happens, they should know it involves a lot of people. The security agencies, communities, quite a lot. And I think part of the problem we've been having is that the people who are supposed to be our eyes and ears, who are supposed to checkmate these stuff. For example,
you're talking about the security?
Yeah, the security agencies, maybe immigration, customs, you have government departments, DPR, NPC. They've not been up and doing. Probably because there's some little bit of mixed up among the officials who should be aware. Because one thing I will always say, I've always believed, as a Nigerian, not as a seafarer, as a Nigerian, as a concerned citizen, oil theft is more than what we think. This crude theft you used to hear is not a bottle of Coke. It's not a truckload of cement. We're talking of large ships carrying this thing out of the country. So I don't want to believe that these things move in and out of the country without the security agents' names. I really don't know what's going on. But we hope that going forward, there will be a solution to it, because it affects all of us. It's something that goes around. It's a natural resources that is supposed to be of benefit to all Nigerians. I said something about the Niger Delta region. That part is a little bit complicated for me. We do sail across this region most times. And for example, let me give you an example. Bonny, for example, You see these children who are supposed to be in school, they're not in school. They're inside this wooden boat. They are fishing because they need to make ends meet. Now, you keep asking yourself, you have this bunny having this gas moving in and out of this place every day, every month, for years. And the people who are staying there are saying they are not benefiting anything. They are still living in abject poverty. It's not about even the people in the coastal areas. Even, let's say, Nigerians as well, what we have as natural resources from the oil and gas industry, if it's properly harnessed, properly sold, properly used for the good use of everybody, I think every Nigerian should live above what they are doing right now. It's going to get better, but then it's same old story. Old story.
Now, I hear you say that this crude oil theft is actually not a bottle of Coke or even just a truckload of cement. So that means you actually agree to where people say that it is far, it is not just the petty thieves that just carry 1 gallon, 2 gallons, and then want to pick it a large bath, and in fact a very long cartel with strong network, really.
Yes, definitely. Because for funny enough, when Nigerian government talks about oil thieves in the past, you see these people in the creeks with jerry cans. For me, I won't say that is oil bunkering. I don't know. I'm not supporting it. It's illegal. They should face the wrath of the law. But when we talk of the real oil theft, that is not the oil theft. How many in a barrel of crude? That is insignificant. So when we talk of oil theft, it means the large sum of crude oil that leaves this country on a daily basis in large crude carriers. That is the main oil theft. If Chevron comes, for example, they keep complaining, the IOCs, that there's maybe on a daily basis they are losing maybe 200,000 barrels of oil, 300,000 barrels of oil. That is the oil theft. That's the crude oil theft we're talking about, not in jerrycans and buckets. And that, and again, for me, not as a seafarer, just as a concerned Nigerian, for you to take out large amount of crude out of the country, it cannot be done by just an ordinary man. Not by me, not by you. It has to be done by those in power, those who actually know the system, those who are part of the system. Because the way Nigerian the way our territorial waters are, it's very safe. I can tell you, no ship can enter into the Nigerian waterways without the knowledge of the Nigerian Navy. So if a ship is coming in, loading, and going out, they should start asking questions, asking the government agencies, DPR, NNPC, security agents, how this is happening. I think they're in a better position to answer those questions because it's far bigger than what we think.
Interesting. Now, for the Niger Delta people, they'll keep telling you that they refuse to take care of us, so we decided to steal our own thing. So what are your thoughts on that?
Too wrong can never make a right. But I could tell you the Nigerian government has failed the Niger Delta people. 2 years ago, I went to Oloibiri. They said that was the first place that oil was discovered in Nigeria. I could tell you for sure, authoritatively, that if you go to that community, you shed tears.
Oh, wow.
There is nothing to show for it. There's no good water, no good road network, nothing. So I think that was what started the agitation. Was it like 5 or 6 years ago, the Niger Delta agitation before the Yar'Adua administration? I think Yar'Adua inherited it and tried to bring this Niger Delta amnesty program, NDDC, Niger Delta ministry and all that. So for over some years now, since oil was discovered, money has been pumped into this region. But I could tell you authoritatively, nothing to show for it. Nothing to show for it. Most times there's no good road, there's no good hospitals, there's no good schools. Nothing.
So even with the launch of the Ogoni cleanup, you didn't do anything?
The Ogoni cleanup, I don't have much information about that. If they've started, if they've done it, I could not tell. But for the communities around, I think if little of the funds coming from these natural resources can be invested in the community back, it's going to go a long way for the people there. Because these people, there's gas flaring, like in Port Harcourt, there's some part of Port Harcourt, if you fetch a bucket of water and keep, in the evening when it comes back, everywhere is black.
Oh, wow.
So you can just imagine the health implication on people, on the population, the citizens living in this area. That means they're inhaling this thing every time because gas is flaring from maybe 1940 something, when they started drilling to today, it keeps flaring, and the people are the one bearing it. And funny enough, what do they have in return? Hospital, no good hospital. So everything still falls back on them. I think the government needs to do more, not just in the oil Niger Delta region, but I think all Nigeria, we need better facilities.
Speaking about the gas flaring, that's even another kettle of fish entirely. Why we should be flaring gas even at this 21st century. That's the argument a lot of people keep having. But now you have NDDC, you have so many of them. You have the Niger Delta Development Commission. You have quite a lot. The Niger Delta Ministry and all. You have MEND and all. Are they? Would you actually say that all of these departments, ministries, agencies, have they even been able to live up to the expectation of even helping the Niger Delta people?
They've lived below expectation, far below expectation. And over the years, if you check the money that have been pumped into these agencies, into these commissions for the Niger Delta people, you'll be very, very shocked. We're talking of billions of naira, if not even enter trillions, if we start calculating from the time it was created. But then, the problem is this government insincerity, governments not doing what they're supposed to do. You pump in money, some group of people just take the money, and that's it. It will never get to the people that really need it. Because I don't understand why billions of naira will be pumped into NDDC, and NDDC will not be able to show the Nigerian city, or maybe the Niger Delta region, that okay, in every community we've built these schools, number of schools, we've built this number of hospitals, we've done these road networks. There are some communities that if you are going from one community to another community, you need to use flying boats. There's no bridge, no road network. So why not just give them the bridge, at least make life easier for them? Because people keep dying on this water every time, boat capsizing and all of that. Over the years, this has not been done. But every year, billions of naira is being voted into this commission, and a few people just take it off and that's it. And then we hear they want to probe MDDC chairman is removed, he has been replaced, all of that, and it ends there, and it's something that keep coming up. And
but don't you think that even the Niger Delta people, like some people will say that they're even their own problem, because sometimes they decide not to talk, and sometimes they decide, okay, we decided to make your own people man your affairs. But even the Niger Delta people, some of their chiefs, so-called chiefs and traditional leaders, are not even helping the matter.
Yes, the part of the problem are people from the region. But when we talk of the people that are highly affected, we are talking of these people in the villages, these uneducated people, these very, very poor people. It's very difficult for such people to fight people in power. It is the job of the government to fight for them. You don't expect somebody, a fisherman, to start fighting an NDDC chairman, for example, that wastes my money. It's going to be a little bit difficult. They're going to use the states, use the powers that belongs to suppress them. So if the government are not doing their job in trying to help these very helpless people, because for me, I think they're defenseless. There's nothing they can do. They don't have money. Somebody that have not eaten, how will he start a case? Probably does not even have transport money to go to the NDDC head office. All these are part of the problem. So it has to do with the government trying to help these people. They should make these people accountable, because over the years, NDDC chairmen, the MDs, are people from that region. So they should be held accountable. Where is the money going through? If the government wants to work, they will. Because if I give, this is a private company, for example, I used to tell my friend once, I said, the Nigerian government, or the government we have in Africa, is the most insincere government I've seen. Our federal government, they just dish out billions of naira into an agency, and after some time, they go back to that agency, nothing has been done, and nobody is held accountable. So the problem is even from the government. If they want to be sincere, they want to start holding people accountable, it's their duty, they should. I can't arrest anybody. I can't start asking, where did my 1 billion went to? Where did your 1 billion go to? The government should do that. And this brings us to the part that we need to be prayerful. Maybe we just hope that one day we'll have a government that is responsible, that, has the people in mind. Then once they're responsible, they see the need to start asking questions, start being responsible, start seeing the effect on us.
I hear you say we should be prayerful, and then Nigerians will tell you like that too. In fact, I think in the whole of Africa, we are the most prayerful people, most religious people, but then yet you still see other things happening. So now that we are just few days to the presidential elections and then other elections in February and then March 11th, 2023, and most of these presidential candidates or governorship candidates, they're still busy campaigning, and then they keep telling you things that they will do. And then some say, some particular presidential candidate came out to say that they will end crude oil theft and bunkering in just few days or few weeks. So as someone on ground who have experience with how the waters walk, the sea and all, maybe like these oil thieves and oil and all, is it actually possible to break that network in days or weeks?
To break the network, it's going to take a lot of time.
So if a particular presidential candidate comes to tell you that I will definitely, all this insecurity that you go through with regards to doing your job, I will stop it in days and weeks. Is that the right person? Is that one good reason why you should vote for such a person?
If I have the opportunity, I would like to ask him how he tends to do it, because definitely he might have his strategy I'm not aware of. But then, ending corruption, ending oil theft, ending piracy is going to take a lot of time. It's not going to be just one magic and everything is fine. I'm not sure it works anywhere in the world like that. Even in the US, I'm not sure it's going to work that way. It will take a lot of process because a lot is involved. These people that are committing these crimes are our Nigerian brothers, our Nigerian sisters, our fellow citizens. They are not ghosts, they are human beings. So before you can start fishing them out in government agencies, private sector, the security agents,
family,
it's going to take a lot of time. But then, I was sincere, it takes a government that is sincere. A government that has the people at heart. Because they steal oil, they don't steal oil. Our resources is much. So it's like fishing from a bucket. So the government still have a lot to spend. So most time, they are less concerned. Because even them, they are more interested in how to finish the one they are having left. But if we have a sincere government that says, okay, this bucket is supposed to be filled up so that it can go around the whole 36 states plus federal capital territory, then that's when the sincerity comes about. Not a government that just like Adeska about it, like, okay, there's oil that will deal with it. How much is remaining? Something trillion. Okay, allocate this, and they move on. That is what has been happening for years now. So let's just hope that we will try to change this narrative in the coming elections.
Changing
Hopefully.
the narrative, what exactly are you looking forward to from the next president?
For the next president, we are looking at a very, very, I don't even know the word to use, but the job before the next president is quite enormous. Our economy is currently down. I don't know if the inflation is touching you, but what you are buying, maybe
Nigerian.
10 naira today, or maybe 2 years ago, you just ask of the price now. It's crazy. For us staying in Abuja, the house rent is skyrocketing every day. Properties are going up. Salary is not increasing. Foodstuffs are on the go. So he needs to deal with the economy, which is very important. Inflation, particularly. Talking of security, I don't know. Should I use the word? That's it's at the lowest at this point. We have kidnapping even right here in Abuja. That will not happen in maybe 10 years ago. If you tell somebody they are going to kidnap you in Abuja, the person is going to doubt, like, no, it's not going to be possible. I think in December, people were kidnapped in Galadima when going home around 11 o'clock. You have the train station. It's not a norm. You have that one in Kaduna. You have the one in Edo State. Going on the road, same problem. No road is safe. We have to start finding solutions to all these problems. The Boko Haram issue in the north is still there. It's not dying anytime. So herdsmen are on their own. We'll now have a group of people called bandits. We'll have herdsmen. Then in the east, we'll have some unknown gunmen, and it's a lot of problems. When you come to the maritime industry, the oil theft, the piracy, it has gone worse too. So I wish him well, the next incoming president. We hope he'll be able to, he'll be able to be able to withstand these problems, because they are kind of huge. And it's on an increase. It's increasing every day.
So do you have your PVC before we end?
Definitely.
And you're going to vote?
I'm going to vote if I'm around. Our job, prescription by times makes us, we might be around, we might not be around. But if I'm around, definitely I'm going to vote.
Great. All right, then. Let's end it. Thank you so much for your time with us. What a fine way to end this conversation. It's been a wonderful time having this talk with you, John JC.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nabil.
All right, so viewers, that's where we end this conversation. What a fine way we had to end that this conversation. So whatever you're doing, wherever you are, go get your PVCs and ensure that you vote your conscience. If you are actually happy with what is going on at the moment, it's been there over time, so that someone don't misquote me and say it's this administration that brought it forth. Insecurity has been there over time, but if you are happy with it, then maybe you should stay at home or allow someone to buy up your PVC. But if you're not happy with this, then INEC says you should come take your PVC. So you should hurry, go get your PVC and vote your conscience. I will definitely see you again. We've been chatting with John JC, who is a sailor, and it's been a wonderful time here in the conversation. I'll see you again next time from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Annabelle Oji. God bless you and yours, and God bless Nigeria.